The distress beacon cut through the void like a scream in the dark, its desperate frequency bouncing off relay stations across 3 spiral arms. Ambassador Zexthal of the Galactic Consortium felt his chitinous plates shiver as the translation matrices decoded the primitive binary signal. "Help, anyone, please respond, we are dying." The message originated from Sol 3, a backwater planet inhabited by a species the galaxy had collectively dismissed as irrelevant. The humans, as they called themselves, had only achieved basic fusion technology and crude chemical propulsion. Their radio signals were considered cosmic background noise, their existence barely worthy of a footnote in xenobiological surveys. "Should we respond?" asked Commander Vale, her crystalline form refracting the bridge lights into nervous rainbows. The Altarian's natural empathy made her uncomfortable with ignoring genuine distress, even from primitives. Zexthal's mandibles clicked in contemplation. The Consortium's prime directive was clear: no interference with pre-spaceflight civilizations. But a distress signal changed things. Slightly. "What threatens them?" he asked the communications officer. The young Kethari's scales flashed amber with confusion. "Unknown, Ambassador. The signal is strange. They're not requesting evacuation or military aid. They're asking for something called hope." Hope. The concept translated poorly across most galactic languages. The Zephyrians had 17 words for despair but none for hope. The machine minds of Arcturus computed only probabilities, never possibilities beyond statistics. Even Zexthal's own species had evolved past such primitive emotional constructs. "Sir," the sensor operator called out, "long-range scans show no immediate threat to Sol 3. No invasions, no stellar anomalies, no plague ships. They appear to be fighting themselves." The bridge fell silent. Self-annihilation was not uncommon among younger species, but most had the courtesy to do it quietly. These humans were broadcasting their death throes across the galaxy like some cosmic tantrum. Set course for Sol System, Zexthal decided. If they wish to die, they can do so without disturbing our communications networks. The journey took 6 standard cycles via hyperspace lanes. When the Consortium fleet dropped into normal space at the edge of the Sol System, what they found defied every xenobiological prediction model. Sol 3 was indeed dying. Cities burned across its surface, its blue-green atmosphere stained brown with particulates. Nuclear fires bloomed like malignant flowers across continents. The humans had achieved what most species needed outside help to accomplish: they were successfully exterminating themselves. But that wasn't what made Ambassador Zexthal's respiratory spiracles freeze. It was the ships. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Crude, angular vessels that had no business existing in hard vacuum, held together by what appeared to be primitive welding and desperate engineering. They were launching from the dying planet like seeds from a burning tree, each one packed with human refugees fleeing their world's self-inflicted apocalypse. "Impossible," whispered Commander Vale. "Our intelligence reports indicated they hadn't achieved sustainable spaceflight." The tactical officer's voice cracked with disbelief. "Ambassador, I'm reading fusion signatures on those ships. Not clean antimatter or zero-point energy. Actual nuclear fusion. Their writing barely contained explosions into space." Zexthal watched the tactical display in growing horror. Each human ship was a catastrophe waiting to happen, their radiation signatures bleeding into space like wounds. By any sane engineering standard, they should have blown apart before clearing their own atmosphere. "And yet they fly," he murmured. The communication officer suddenly straightened. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission. They're addressing us directly." On screen, the hologram resolved into the image of a human female, her face streaked with grime and determination. Behind her, Zexthal could see the cramped interior of one of their impossible ships, packed with human young and elderly. "Unknown vessels," she said, her words translated by the Consortium's universal systems. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Defiance. We know you're out there. We've been watching your ships for 3 days. 3 days." The Consortium fleet had been in system for 3 days, confident in their cloaking technology. No pre-spaceflight species had ever detected them. Captain Shin continued, "We don't know who you are, but we know you're advanced. Advanced enough to help us, maybe. Or advanced enough to finish what we started down there." She gestured toward the burning planet behind her. "Either way, we wanted you to know, we see you. And we're not going quietly." The transmission ended. The bridge of Zexthal's flagship remained silent except for the hum of life support and the distant thrum of engines. "How?" Commander Vale asked. "How did they detect us?" The sensor operator's voice was small. "They modified their distress beacon. Turned it into an active scanning array. It shouldn't work, the physics are all wrong, but they're bouncing signals off subspace distortions our ships create." Zexthal felt something cold settle in his central nervous cluster. They weaponized their cry for help. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving more transmissions. Hundreds of them." The tactical display lit up with human ships, each one broadcasting on different frequencies. They weren't pleading anymore. They were negotiating. Offering trade agreements, cultural exchanges, technological partnerships. Some were even making threats, promising to remember any species that stood by and let them die. They're already planning for survival, Zexthal realized. While their world burns, they're building alliances with civilizations they've never met. Commander Vale's crystalline form pulsed with an emotion Zexthal had never seen before. They're not asking for rescue. They're asking for a chance to rescue themselves. The ambassador looked at the swarm of impossible human ships, held together by determination and engineering that defied every known principle. Each one carrying the seeds of a species that refused to accept extinction. "Open a channel," he commanded. "All frequencies." "Ambassador?" "If they're going to survive this," Zexthal said, his mandibles clicking with what might have been admiration, "they'll need to know where the habitable worlds are. And which species might object to new neighbors." As the consortium fleet dropped its cloaking and moved to escort the human refugees toward empty systems beyond the galaxy's edge, Zexthal made a note in his report. Species designation, human. Threat level, recalculate. All previous assessments, inadequate. Behind them, Sol 3 continued to burn. But its children flew toward the stars, carrying something the galaxy had forgotten it needed.